and welcome to episode 10 of the Red Mountain Express. I am your host, Blake Westbrook. Joining me as always, Matthew Joyner. Matthew, we're 10 episodes in. How you feeling, man?
How am I feeling about being 10 episodes in?
Yeah, well, how are you feeling in general?
I feel good. I guess about 10 episodes in, man. Did you think we were making it this far?
Not a chance.
All right, well, here we are.
We are.
Episode 10. That's, plus one, so really it's episode 11.
11 and a half. 10 and a half.
Sure.
10 and a half.
All right, 10 and a half. Yeah, how's it going? How's your weekend?
It was good. We actually went on vacation for about 3 days. The wife, the baby, and I went down to Santa Rosa Beach, which if you don't know where that is, that's down on the 30A area. Just really enjoyed it. My parents came down the second day and actually watched our daughter for the night, and we actually got to go out and have dinner by ourselves, which was the first time that we had been out to dinner by ourselves since the baby was born, which was really weird.
I bet.
It was very, very weird. But we went to one of my favorite restaurants called Bud and Alley's. Have you ever been there?
I've heard it mentioned like 1,000 times.
Oh,
I've
so
never
good.
been there.
We went to the top part where it's open to the ocean or the Gulf, and you could see everything. And I had crab cakes that were the size of hockey pucks.
Nice.
They were so good. And my wife had some scallops on a cheesy bacon polenta. And it was very, very, very good. So it was really, really good. So we enjoyed it. The beach was great. The water was warm. Really wasn't that bad of weather. That all, I guess, is in Texas right now, which thoughts are out to them. I actually have some my wife has family members in Texas, so we're thinking about them right now. But they're okay. They just can't really go anywhere now.
Right.
But no, it was good. What did y'all do this weekend?
So Laura and I shot up to Murfreesboro, Tennessee on Friday night and stayed with my brother and sister-in-law up there. Spent some time with them Friday night, Saturday morning, and then went to a wedding in Franklin, Tennessee, or Nashville, Tennessee, somewhere in between. Saturday night, saw some good friends get married and celebrated with them, and then came back home this morning. So a little bit tired, still a little bit throat congested, I guess, from last week, 2 weeks ago. I can't get over some of that. But other than that, man, it was a good weekend. I enjoyed all of our time with our friends and family. And here we are.
So did you, like me, I'm certain you didn't get to see the McGregor-Mayweather fight.
No, so
Mayweather-McGregor, whichever one you
I was pumped up for it. I kind of thought maybe if we ended up, at a venue with a TV, somebody would have paid for us to watch some of it. But no, I didn't get to see any of it until this morning when I watched the last minute and watched the ref call the fight in Mayweather's favor.
But I saw the scoring was close?
Extremely close. Everything I've read about the fight, McGregor did a really good job, especially for his first time in a boxing match against Mayweather, who is arguably one of the better boxers out there right now. I mean, 50 wins, 26 knockouts.
But he's old. He's 40, right?
He's old. He's retiring. He announced his
retirement
last night. For our
listeners who are listening, I don't know anything about boxing or UFC, so this is all kind of new to me.
And I'm not an expert in it. I've watched a lot of UFC fights. I was a big fan of McGregor. I think he's a really competent fighter, but to enter into a boxing ring with Mayweather,
you're playing the other guy's game, and the other guy is one of the best at his game.
He's an expert at his game. The fight was close. They went 10 rounds. McGregor had the score in his favor for the first 3. Then Mayweather took the next 4. I think the final score was 85-86, and of course Mayweather. It was called in his favor with a TKO against McGregor there in the 10th.
I saw the TKO. I watched it on YouTube. I mean, he looked wobbly at the end.
He was out on his feet. I don't think letting that fight go on would have been healthy for McGregor.
I bet his bank account's healthy after this fight, though.
So from what I can tell or what I've read, if I'm getting this right, I think McGregor walked away with $30 million. I think Mayweather with the win walks away with somewhere like around $500 million.
I don't...
I'm
going to have to Google that because that cannot be right.
Come on, dude. Think about how many people were watching this fight, paying for pay-per-view. I mean, there's a lot riding on this fight, money-wise, commercially.
I would let Floyd Mayweather knock me out for $50 million, though. How about you? I mean...
Yeah, I think so. I think that would at least cover the first 5 years of rehab if it didn't just outright kill me. Yeah, I'd be up for that.
Boxing's kind of making a comeback, though. One of the WBC champion is actually from Alabama. He's from Tuscaloosa. He fought in Birmingham.
Who?
Deontay Wilder.
Okay.
And he fought in Birmingham, I think, the last couple times. So I know he's trying to get a fight and unify the title, but I think that's still in the works.
Excuse my ignorance, but like, where do they fight in Birmingham? At the BJCC or?
I think they fought at both. And correct me if I'm wrong. I know they fought one time at Bartow Arena.
Okay.
And I want to say they fought at the Legacy Arena as well.
Sure, I'll take your word for it. I didn't know that.
I think those are great venues to hold an event like that.
Yeah, especially if it's a smaller fight. You're not expecting a big crowd.
Yeah, and I think they packed it out. I really do think they did both times, and because I think his titles were on the line.
Yeah.
So that's.
I think. I mean, if boxing's coming back, that's cool. Like for me, I guess maybe just because I was in that circle, MMA has seemed like the bigger thing for a while, and boxing seemed like it was on its way out. But if it's coming back, man, that's cool. Boxing's it's an interesting sport. They do something that I wouldn't even want to try and do.
What was your prediction for this fight, though? I thought Mayweather. I just knowing nothing about them two, I said, look. It's Mayweather's game. There's no way he gets beat.
I think we had a lot of conversations with friends yesterday about it, and I was really pulling for McGregor. I thought, McGregor, for all his time in the octagon, had enough stamina to last with Mayweather, where Mayweather is extremely technically proficient. I thought maybe he would be too cautious and McGregor would be able to get at him and maybe get the knockout. Maybe in the first 5 rounds. I didn't see it happening in the first or second. But I guess like the longer you let it go on, I guess the stronger Mayweather's game becomes. He has more time to fill out McGregor and see what's going on, and then it's over.
I watched how some people predict this fight. All the UFC fans said McGregor, and all the boxing fans said, McGregor, and then all the boxing fans said Mayweather. And so it was kind of tough to see, what the experts thought. But I still, at the end, said, look, it's his game.
Yeah,
You're not going to try to beat him in his own game.
Absolutely.
So, well, speaking of sports, you know what week it is? It is football.
Oh,
football is back, man.
Wait, let me tell you. All right, so we're in Nashville this weekend or Tennessee this weekend, and at night it was close to 70 degrees with no humidity. It just felt like
it's
football
football
season.
weather,
I could
man. You
smell
can smell it, yeah.
Oh, God.
The Conecuh was on the grill.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Well, see, Alabama will play Florida State on Saturday at the new Mercedes-Benz Dome. Have you seen that place?
No, haven't.
I've seen it in person. It dwarfs the Georgia Dome, which I will say is one of the best venues I've ever watched football in. And then because Auburn's going to be playing Georgia Southern
that's right.
at Jordan-Hare. And then, of course, in Birmingham,
UAB
is back.
Yeah.
And they are playing Alabama A&M at Legion Field. And you're going, right?
I'm going to be there. My plans are to be there. We've got the tickets.
Where y'all sitting? Do you know?
No idea.
No, I'm just gonna go and
just wherever.
Could be it.
Or whatever's on the
zone.
ticket. Yeah, I don't know.
Not a bad seat in that stadium, though. It's a good stadium.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've already talked about it at length. There are lots of things about it we don't love. We want improvements for it, but yeah, it's not a bad stadium to be in. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see how UAB shaped up for this season. I honestly don't keep track of stats very well compared to a lot of people out there that are like huge football fans. I know you keep track of stats and remember names.
I think the overall message I will say is that I think UAB is going to be a very hungry team. I mean, you had a team that was taken off the map and that has come back literally from the dead, and they are ready to make a statement of some sort. And I mean, I think they're going to have a good game. I really do. I hope they have a really good season. And like I've said to every UAB fan, please go see this team.
Yeah.
Even if this team stumbles out of the blocks, keep showing up, give them support. You wanted them back, they're back, and I think that they're in a really good position to succeed. They have a great practice facility, they have a good fan base behind them, and I think they're going to do well this year. I really do.
Yeah, even if they come out of the gate and they're not as strong as everybody wants them to be, you've got to keep coming to the games. They can only get better. If they start out at the lowest place, they can only improve.
Are you going to be watching football all day Saturday when you're not at the game?
I believe that's the plan.
There's some good games other than
I'll
just in the
catch some
South.
of the Alabama game. Of course, I'll be at the UAB game, and then of course I'll watch the Auburn game. It's later that evening.
And Michigan is playing Florida. I think,
really?
Earlier
Okay.
in the afternoon.
All right.
And then I think we had a couple games on Thursday. I think it's Ohio State and Indiana, maybe.
I'm sure I'll have my ESPN app.
Yeah,
blowing up on my
I'll
phone.
have ESPN just going all weekend.
Yeah. So one more thing I want to mention. Kayla, who designed our logo for Red Mountain Express, asked me to plug the Crestwood South Tour of Homes, Mid-Century Modern and Beyond, coming up Saturday, September 23rd and Sunday, September 24th. Now, I mentioned this to her. I confess that I haven't really done a whole lot of Tour of Home stuff. I don't really know what the gist of it is, but I did tell her that this was something I'd be glad to plug for because it's important to her in that neighborhood. So I'm going to read the little promo thing she sent, and please go and check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/Crestwood South Tour of Homes. So here we go. She said, meanwhile, back at the ranch, all the hip cats and daddios are making tracks to the most copacetic hood around. Crestwood South, it's real gone, man. The Crestwood South Neighborhood Association, in partnership with Crestwood South Incorporated, is excited to announce a Crestwood South Tour of Homes. The theme, Mid-Century Modern and Beyond, will put the unique architecture of the neighborhood on glorious display. This home tour will not only highlight architectural gems, but will promote and exhibit all the benefits of living in this great Birmingham neighborhood. These abodes will abide, and it's going to be out of sight. Beat feet with your favorite Betty or Don to Crestwood South, September 23rd and 24th. Tickets are on sale now, so don't miss out on making the scene. Get clued in on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Crestwood South Tour of Homes. So there we are. Like I said, go check it out if it's something you're interested in. Be sure to get tickets. I think that Kayla's house is one of the houses on the tour, so stop by, say hey.
Tell her Red Mountain Express Center.
Exactly. So we're going to go to a quick break. Hear a quick commercial from Beach and Woodworks, and then we'll be back.
Beach and Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and Kanan Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beach and Woodworks creates affordable, quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beach and Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And we're back on the Red Mountain Express. This week was a big week in Birmingham. Municipal elections were held, and there was actually some surprising results. One of the biggest surprises that came from this election, Matthew, was that Randall Woodfin, who actually we've had on our show before, actually performed very, very well.
Yeah.
41% to the mayor's 37%. They are going to go into a runoff. Mm-hmm. I was pretty shocked by that. I saw a poll a couple weeks back that had Bell over 50%, which is what you need to avoid a runoff. And, I mean, Woodfin did very well. Now, I will note that Bell did better in most boxes, but Woodfin on the boxes that he won swamped everybody. Yeah, Not just Bell, swamped everybody in those boxes.
And I think one of the things that Woodfin mentions to us during the interview was that they were pushing so strongly to get voters to come out, and I think that really bolstered his numbers. Now, overall, voter turnout was pretty sad. What percentage?
It was 30%.
30%.
I will say this, that municipal elections normally have low voter turnout.
Sure.
But Woodfin did tell us, either on the air and off the air, that he had a get out the vote operation.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people, when we were watching returns, saw Woodfin do very, very well. But Bell did 37%. That's still a good showing. Having said that he's an incumbent, that he only got 37%, shows that there is maybe a need for change, although there's not really a lot of that in the rest of the elections.
Yes. How do you think it goes in a runoff?
I really don't know. This is all about turnout.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be tough to tell. I mean, you can say that Woodfin's voters are motivated to get out the polls, but this result that they just had this past week could motivate Bell supporters to say, hey, look, I mean, I didn't go out and vote. I thought he had it. We need to get out there and vote. So I think you're going to have a close race up until to the very end.
And it gives Bell time to look at what happened with his numbers, go out there and, I guess plug holes, short the ship.
And this ain't his first rodeo. He knows how to win elections.
Didn't he win in a runoff last time?
He won in a runoff. So when there was a special election held after Larry Langford was removed from mayor, he got second in the runoff to Patrick Cooper. It was 40 to like 25%.
Right.
And in the runoff, he got like 55%.
Yeah.
I mean, he did very, very well in the runoff. So this is not over by any stretch of the imagination. This is about turnout. Bell could do very, very well in runoffs. He knows how to get his voters to the polls, and he's not a He's not a rookie at this.
Right.
So I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be close up until Election Day.
And a quick reminder, since we're talking about political matters here, I just want to remind you, if you're listening, that we are trying to remain apolitical. We're not trying to pick a candidate. Both of us, while we work in the Birmingham area and do a lot of our living in the Birmingham area, we don't live in Birmingham, so we didn't get to vote in this election. We are just trying to bring information to you. Yeah. So that being said, we have some other runoffs coming up too.
Yeah, so Hunter Williams, another person we had on our podcast, surprised a lot of folks by getting the best of Kim Rafferty at 38 to 17%. That's going to go to a runoff. I will say that we've talked to a couple folks that expected this race to go to a runoff, but they weren't expecting this kind of turnout. But having said this is a turnout. I mean, how many people voted in that?
So looking at the numbers that WBRC had, I think with 90-something% reporting, it looked like only about 4,000 people voted. Yeah, so that's pretty low. Now, again, that's for one district, so I'm not sure how many people live in that district. I didn't look that up, but that seems low.
Yeah.
So that's District 2.
District 2. Another district was Jonathan Alston, who is the president of the city council. He got 31% to, is it Darrell O'Quinn? 26%.
Yeah.
A lot of folks said that could go to a runoff. A lot of folks we talked to said it could get a good runoff, but I think Alston's done very well with his constituents. So that's going to be very close going in. And like I said, it's all about turnout.
Yeah. And so a lot of people, I remember, I guess, talking about it right before leading up to the election, a lot of people thought O'Quinn had really appealed to the people. I know Austin had been in the news a lot, kind of a negative light over the last year.
I mean,
especially with the clashes with Mayor Bell. So that's interesting. And I don't know much about O'Quinn. I don't know if you do or not.
I know I wouldn't say he lives in Crestwood North. As every time I go over there, I see a bunch of signs over there, so I imagine he lives over there. He has a good base of support, but so does Jonathan Alston. Yeah. And I think this is another race. I don't think you're going to see one candidate blow the other one out. I think that you're going to see it kind of be very close to the end. So, we got a long way to go before that one's over with.
Sure.
The last one we'll mention on the city council that's going to runoff is Roderick Royals, 31%, to John Hillard's 22%. This is an interesting race because neither of these candidates are incumbents. I will say Roderick Royal used to be on the city council. He was the representative of this district from 2001 to 2013. After that, he decided not to run for re-election, and Marcus Lundy was that candidate, or was the candidate, and became the city council representative from that district. He decided not to run for re-election. Roderick Royal is trying to regain his seat. He was the acting mayor in 2009 after Langford was removed. However, John Hillard is the younger brother of a former congressman, Earl Hillard.
Oh, yeah.
So, both of these candidates have a big base of support. It was 31 to 22. It's really, really close. And so this is something you're going to have to watch out on. Roderick Royal does have the name recognition, but John Hillard has Earl Hillard, that name and that political family behind him. So now, it's going to be very interesting.
Does John have any experience other than just being related to a congressman? Has he been in office?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
I could be wrong. The research on the beach was a little bit lacking this time around.
Low Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but I will say it's pretty impressive that he got 22% against someone who used to represent that district. Although that person did technically win the primary, but he hasn't won the runoff yet. So we'll be keeping our eyes open on that one. But it was a good election. I really wish the turnout would have been better, but I think we got a long way to go. What day's the runoff, Matthew?
It's in October. I'm not sure if I remember what day it is. You want to look it up real quick while I continue talking. Turnout in votes in elections, statewide, citywide, nationally, it seems to be always pretty poor, and it's a shame. That's kind of how our society is based, is on these elections, and you only have a very small percentage of people showing up for presidential elections or city elections or state elections. It's I don't know. As much as I'd encourage you to go and buy tickets for UAB games, I think if I could encourage you to do one thing overall, it'd be to get out and vote. Get out and vote for these runoffs coming up. That's the only way we can make effective change in our city, is to get out and vote for the people who represent the changes we want.
Yeah. The runoff is October 2nd, and I pulled up a couple articles. Let's go back to the Bell race real quick. That poll I said, a lot of the respondents, 54 respondents, said that Mayor Bell was doing an excellent or good job. And that says something when the respondents say he's doing a good job, but he only got 37%. And I think that's what points to the turnout.
Right.
It also says that Randall Woodfin knocked on 40,000 doors.
Right.
So, you may want the current administration to continue, but if you don't get out and vote, that may not happen.
That's
Your
exactly
candidate,
right.
if you may want your candidate to win, but you can be like, I had to go to the grocery store, I didn't have time to vote. Trust me, the polls open at 7, they close at 7.
Mm-hmm.
You have plenty of time to go vote.
And if you're not registered to vote, you don't really have an excuse these days. There's so many easy ways to register. You can, go to your local, loss of words, your DMV. There we go. That's what I couldn't think of. You can go there. You can get registered to vote. You can go online and get registered to vote. It's pretty simple these days. So anyway, that's our plug for that.
Do you remember the first time you voted?
I believe the first time I voted would have been the first year that George W. ran.
2004, or the re-election campaign for George W. Bush?
Yeah, I think that'd be right.
I think the first time I voted was that election, and I want to say I voted on the old machine that you had to pull a lever.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you what, that felt like democracy, man. I mean, none of this bubbling in a ballot. This was all like, click, 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 and then you pull that lever. It's like your vote has been cast. Man, that was America.
No, I think I voted on an actual piece of paper, pencil in with the number 2 pencil and then slide it in the machine.
Like, was it like to connect the lines?
Yes, actually, yes. Now that you say that, it was. The very first time was on one of those connect the line pieces of paper. And I kind of missed that I never got to punch in on those punch cards that I've seen, the ones with the hanging chads, that whole big...
They've outlawed those, I bet. I will say this, that, watching for returns on Tuesday night, I was amazed how long it takes for the ballots to come in.
I mean, don't know. You're not used to it from watching all the other...
Well, but I mean... Come on. I mean, this is... I hate to use this analogy because it's used a lot. We put a man on the moon, for God's sake.
Sure.
Can we not get ballots in at a proper time?
Well, especially for
it's
a
like
city
midnight,
election.
and like we're still waiting on a box somewhere. Like, come on. Like, come on, guys. Count the votes. Let's go.
I don't know, but there is a lot that goes into it, I guess.
There is. And
there's tons of
I'm not
stories.
demeaning poll workers because they are
yeah.
doing a patriotic duty.
And there's tons of stories out there about how our voting system may be in danger of hacking or in danger of violating privacy laws. But I worked with the sheriff's department in Shelby County for a while, and I was there for several elections where we'd hold the ballots in a secure location. So I at least got to see that part of it, like, to see the big trucks roll in with all the ballot machines and have them stored somewhere behind several locked gates, cameras on them 24/7. I felt pretty good about at least Shelby County's ballots. Can't speak for some of the other machines out there or other locations, but there's a whole lot that goes into it, a whole lot of thought and planning and man hours that go into.
But it always shocks me whenever we have an election in the state or an election. It's always like we're at 95%. If we can't call it yet, we're still waiting on a ballot from fire station number 5 somewhere. I'm like, what are they doing at fire station number 5? Like, people can. It's 11 o'clock at night. There cannot be people voting.
Well, you're watching the presidential elections this last year.
Oh yeah.
Watching some small state up in the northwestern part of the country.
We're still waiting on some votes in Wisconsin somewhere.
We're at 24%, and it's 11 o'clock at night, and you're like, why at 24%? What's going on?
Having said that, if you're in line and the polls close, stay in line. But it's 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And, we didn't have any returns until, I want to say, 8 or 9 o'clock. I figured that after 7 o'clock, I mean, there was a light turnout, and so you think that once they closed the polls, they could start getting some numbers.
Sure.
But
all that being said, I've never worked in a polling place.
I have, and like I said, I am not trying to demean poll workers
Right.
are doing a patriotic duty. I'm just talking about just the voting calculations themselves. Like, can we get them? I'm just impatient.
If
man.
you're listening
I'm
and you
impatient.
have volunteered at one of those places, or you have any insight, let
Call
us
us.
know.
Let us know.
Yeah. Email us.
Come
Send
on
us
the
a message
show.
on Facebook.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, we're curious. We have a lot of questions.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And complaints.
We're dumb on this.
We're dumb.
So we're dumb on a lot of things.
We are dumb and making opinionated statements.
That's
on
right.
This.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
That's what we're here for. So we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. But I mean, it'd be nice to have those.
Yeah, right.
Pretty easy.
If we could be educated a little bit.
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
Okay.
All right. So what's going on next week?
Next week on the show, we're going to have Will Haver. He is the owner of Taco Mama and also Odie's Tavern. So we're going to talk to him about the great things they're doing over there. Maybe Matthew will talk to him about some margarita pitchers.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I know you're going to.
I hope he's willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that's my first question.
I know it is. Don't take his margarita pitchers away, guys. It'll be bad news.
I don't even drink that many margaritas, but
People think that you're a margarita fiend now. So tune into the show next week. Remember, you can catch us online at redmountainexpress.com or on Facebook and Instagram for any and all updates. And also, don't forget to call us and let us know what you think about certain issues that we talk about. For Matthew Joyner, I'm Blake Westbrook. We'll see you next week.